This video is going to trigger some people. Oh yes. And do you know why that is? People in general do not listen, both male and women. They do not listen to understand, they listen to attack. They do not listen to a whole video. They cut and put together, and when they hear words that doesn't sit well with them, they forget about the message of an entire video because they've heard something that annoys them. Now, like I expected, my past few videos have triggered a lot of people. And of course, a lot of men now say that I do not support men or male children who also get abused. Now, if you took the time to analyze my page, you will see, and I posted it on stories right now, so you can go check out that video. It was a discussion about women fighting the system. It says everyone who commits pedophilia or anything regarding children should go to jail, both male and females. And a lot of women came out to say, oh no, women shouldn't get the same sentencing like men. And I was against that. If you take something by force from any child, you should pay the price, man or woman. You're not exempt from consequences because you're a female. Now, go ahead and watch that video. But now the topic of today is this. When it comes to abuse in general, abuse is something we should not condone. It is not something we should sleep on. It is not something we should sit comfortable behind and say, oh, I'm not going to lend a voice. Abuse goes both ways. It attacks and affects and creates trauma for both men and women, girl children and boy children. But this is why we hear more about women cases. We hear more about women cases because we have learned to speak up. We have learned to not internalize trauma because down the line, trauma has a very funny way of creating other things in your body, including cancer. We have learned to fight for what is ours, for our rights, and this many times will deem us as emotional. A lot of men use that word emotional as a sign of weakness, not realizing it's a sign of strength. Now, when it comes to abuse that happens to men, remember, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. When it comes to abuse of men, I blame the society for this. The society has conditioned men right from time to think that men do not have the right to express emotion and express hurt. They say it is not manly to speak like that. It is not manly to cry. It is not manly to do this, and it is not manly to do that. I blame it on society and bad parenting. The way girl children and boy children are treated when in their growing stage is completely different from each other. Women are taught to be sensitive, to be critical thinkers, to be homemakers and all that, while men are taught you just be a man. You need to create structure for our boy children so they can learn how to incorporate emotions into their day. And as much as men will try to say women are emotional, you all forget that anger is an emotion. Sadness is an emotion. Outburst is an emotion, but it is not classified as emotion. It is classified as being manly. I said in my previous videos, if you guys took the time to listen, a lot of boys walk around today not even realizing they have been traumatized. Because again, it falls under boys will be boys, men will be men. A lot of male children have been abused by either their neighbors, female neighbors, they have been abused by their own aunties, they have been abused even by their sisters. But nobody focuses on that. And half the time when these cases come out, it's the same family that hides it, sweeps it under the rug and says, everybody just act normal. When you take cases like this to the authorities, even the authorities laugh about it because they're like, but you be man now, what is all this, da 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 da. You dismiss the emotions of boys, and an undiagnosed trauma, an unhealed trauma would definitely lead to more chaos down the line. Look at all the cases of serial and all that, Jeffrey Dahmer, and the list goes on. These are children, boy children, that grew up out of abuse and turned out to be the abusers in return because they never had the time to process that emotion and they kept it in, and instead of it turning into something positive, it turned into anger. Yes, women do abuse little kids. This is known. We know this, and we will never stand for this behavior. When these cases come out, which are very rare when they come out because people are too busy hiding the case, we stand for it. We as women do not care who is being attacked. We stand for it. And yes, in the case of Mirabel, a lot of you got angry with me because I said no. In the heat of the moment, I must have misused some words. I believe that the girl Mirabel should seek for the right help. We do not have facilities in Nigeria to take care of her mental state of mind. But when she does, after that, she's supposed to pay a price. She has to spend time in jail, in my opinion, because you can't just give a slap on the wrist and say, oh well, you're mentally, because a lot of people will come out with this. And it's so unfortunate that there are few women who come out to lay false accusations. This is damaging for the long run. This is damaging the system. And a lot of men would love to sit and say, oh, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Do you think women sit down and plan the days they are going to get attacked? It is by miracle, it is by the grace that certain women would actually have evidence. A lot of women are caught in dark alleys. They are caught off guard completely. You think while you're about to get abused, you're going to think, oh, let me bring out my phone to record. All those things are not going to go through your mind. So half the time, a lot of women don't come out and speak about these situations because they were caught completely off guard. And instead of our protectors to listen and understand circumstances, the only reason I spoke about this case is because of how many people came to say, oh, I don't believe her, da, 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 da. No, before you judge a case, you should have sympathy, period. Now, let's go back to the abuse of boys. A lot of men come out now to say, oh, but men are also abused. Men. We don't know because you do not speak about it. And you also try to point fingers to say, oh, but women abuse these kids. Yes, they do. But let's not also forget one very important part. Not just little boys get abused. Grown men get abused. And guess who they get abused by? Fellow men. And I know this word men triggers a lot of you because you have placed yourself in a group and you don't see past it. But that's the only correct way to actually state they are men. Now, sometimes we might forget to say some men. But yeah, I would use the term some men or most men because we are talking about men. Now, a lot of you hide the fact that most of you were molested and abused by your fellow men. You were bent over and abused by your fellow men. But you know why you don't speak about it? Because you feel it's not a manly thing. You hide, and some of you, from the cases I have heard, some of you were given monetary gifts for your silence. Some of you were rewarded cars for your silence, and you went ahead and said nothing. You know why you said nothing? Because you were ashamed to come out as less manly. Because society has conditioned you so much. Indirectly, men have conditioned women to think one way. So now, even when a man cries, certain women find that as weakness because you have trained us to believe that real men don't cry. But you know the funniest part of this? If I hit you in the nutsack, you would cry. If I cut you right now, you will bleed equally. Yes, men have more physical strength than women, but in all actuality, we're just all humans and we all have emotions that needs to be processed before it turns into something else. And when women come out to cry about things that happen on a daily, just be sympathetic. It is not a time to come out and say, oh, but we go through it too. We wouldn't know what you go through because you do not share that part of you. How do we heal a nation? How do we heal a country when people are too busy trying to fight for who is in more control than the other? No one is talking about things like this. You keep it swept under the rug. And yes, these topics makes everyone uncomfortable, both men and women. But guess what? Whether we like it or not, we will discuss it. Whether you're comfortable or not, it will be discussed and it wouldn't stop today. And for those that keep ranting on my page, think before you speak. Understand where we are coming from. The whole idea of speaking, it's not about throwing blame or taking sides. This is not a taking sides situation. We are only trying to find ways for our nation to heal in all. All lives matter, whether you're a man or you're a woman. Every single child and every single adult, men or women, matter. But if we judge and don't try to heal, we wouldn't